Hello everyone. In today's video I thought we'd answer the age-old question of what does my setup look like? So I thought I'd take a couple minutes, go get the old phone out here and kind of play with the zoom kind of a thing like that, and kind of show off what I use. And again, keep in mind I move my setup around depending on what kind of thing I'm trying to do here. It's just a matter of kind of taking a look. So the first thing I'd like to show off is up on the back side here. This is my newer computer. My old computer is actually sitting right down there on the floor. Every once in a while I actually got to run down there and actually get something off of it. And now keep in mind I built my last 8 computers, so it's kind of fun to kind of think of it that way. But this is an ABS. This is the one that they did that has the 3080 inside of it. This is the one that's got the i9. It's like a 10850K, 32 gigs of RAM. Everything on this thing is solid state, with the exception of my old green drive, which is sitting right there. The thing is circa 2007. I still have it. And of course, all my videos in the universe are on the little teeny tiny external flash drive that I use right here. Speaker-wise, as you can see, there's Logitechs. Again, these are probably 2006, 2008 vintage, if you even recognize. I know I've got a hole in one of them. Coming down from that, of course, I've got an ancient, this is a Microsoft keyboard. You can see I've used this thing forever, as it's missing a significant number of the readability of several of the keys there. So obviously, times have kind of changed. That's what I use for sound. That's got my little headset here. Of course, I do VR stuff, and I keep it really, really close by so I can grab it, and we can go ahead and kind of do something like that in the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stuff you guys are really interested in, which is going to be the peripherals themselves. So my primary joystick is this guy right here. This is a VKB Gunfighter 3, I believe it is. I'm kind of going to take a look. Yeah, it's a Gunfighter. These things are cool. This was the fabulously most expensive thing I've ever bought as far as trying to buy something to control my flight simulators with. And it's a pretty neat piece of machinery. Again, you guys can poke around online and try to find one of these things. The reason I love it is because it is stupid smooth. Like, again, I'm not putting any force into this, and a lot of people say, well, you have to take the springs out and put the tight springs on it. No. I like it nice and easy to move because I do a lot of helicopters, and helicopters are so challenging to move. The controls are stiff as well. Swinging over to this one, this is something that I got relatively new recently. This is the control panel that the good folks over at Virpil make. Virpil I'm still a little bit new to as far as controls goes. I could never make them work originally because I just didn't have the space to do it. But this is one of their control panels. It's kind of fun because you got a little landing gear lever kind of a thing like here, and you got everybody's favorite little switch that's covered and stuff like that. But my favorite thing about there is these 3 switches right here. You have the trim as a rotary encoder, which means you can get your trim so laser guided you don't even need autopilot anymore. My joystick of choice is this is another Virpil one. This is their Fancy Pants. I think this is the CM3 or something along those lines. This is a lot of joystick, and as you can see just from the sheer number of buttons on the darn thing, that it is incredibly overly complex. Honestly, the reason I bought this thing is I got really frustrated with my previous one, which is a TWCS. That's the Thrustmaster throttle that absolutely everybody has. The reason I love this one is because, yes, it is butter smooth. It also has these fun little detents on it. If you actually look, it kind of clicks, and you can pull yourself over them if you want to simulate Afterburner or something like that. They also give you this little guy on the side if you want to kind of use like your prop control or something along those lines. And obviously it has more buttons than you'll ever need when you're playing DCS, especially when you link it with those two. This sucker is mounted to a monster mount. I'm gonna have to play with this at some point. I'm gonna have to buy another one because now that I've set all this stuff up, and like I said, it works great. Unfortunately, my stick's over there and my throttle's down here, so I run into a rather fun situation where it's a bit of a reach for me. In the old days, I used to keep my throttle up here, but the downside to that, of course, was the fact that when I did that, when I pushed the throttle forward, it would tend to run away from me. I tried so many different ways to keep it there, but it's like this thing's metal. So it makes it very heavy, and it's just awkward. Monitor-wise, I've got twin monitors. I did them top to bottom. This is one of those great things that the pandemic did. Basically, the reason I have it set up like this as opposed to left and right is because there's just physically no room on my desk to put a left-right setup that's not crazy curved. So I ended up with that. I do have a track IR. That's what this embarrassing little tape job in the middle looks like. I barely use the thing because I like VR if I'm going to be moving my head a lot. But again, it works really well for me. Other fun things I have in here, going down here to the floor real quick. You can see that my pedals, these are also, this is a VKB, this is their pedals. They are the teeny tiniest little rudder pedals I think I've ever seen before. They're absolutely great as far as smooth goes, but they, like I said, they don't really have a lot of force against them. Like if I come down here and kind of whack it with my finger, boop, you can see that it takes nothing to go ahead and move those. I like them because they're unbelievably precise, but more importantly, they fit under my desk. If they did not fit under my desk, they would not be the pedals I use. I used to have combat pedals, but they don't even make those anymore. I also have the little MFDs that I've probably seen before. I don't use these as much unless I'm doing DCS because a lot of times it's just easy. Just grab the mouse and click the darn button. One of these days, I like to hook this up to an external screen so I can actually push the buttons, kind of a thing like that. So other fun things. This guy I'm actually borrowing at the moment. I haven't decided whether or not I like it, but this is one of those little, what are these Logitech flight information panels, I think they're called right now. That's a G5 gauge. You can use a program called SPAD Next to actually go ahead and project it. I think it's super cool because if you're looking out the window in the airplane, I can physically look down and see exactly what the aircraft is doing. I'm still deciding whether or not I like that system. I haven't, like I said, completely decided whether or not I want to go with it, or I want to go ahead and do an external monitor. Probably going to end up with the external monitor, but again, we'll kind of see how that kind of plays out. Other fun things in my room, I've got myself my little Sennheisers because I do music. For those of you who probably missed it, I have the dual rack of keyboards over here on the left. Like I said, I love playing piano. I started playing piano. It was my award for being good in gym class. They got me a little tiny keyboard, and I just kind of kept going with it. We also have a guitar over there. I've got a banjo kicking around somewhere if I can find it. Acoustic guitar over on that side. Of course, the drum kit that absolutely everybody loves to play with. Come to my house, play with the drums for a while. It's kind of fun. Obviously, there's a lot of sundry items down there. I do weightlifting and all that other kind of fun stuff. Of course, what you probably noticed as well, and again, while we're having a fun little tour, we might as well kind of take it too far here. And this is my book collection. And keep in mind, this is about 10% of the books that I have. Like I said, I like to read a lot. And again, this kind of goes with the whole teacher thing. People enjoy that. But if you want to talk about an obscure collection of books here, I have all these Jane's books, and I have a lot of these digitally as well. And these are just so much fun to read because, like, you read about what we thought the Russians would have or what we thought the Americans had, and it never works out that way. But in addition to things like that, I also have tons of RPG books. Like I said, this is just a small collection of the ones I have. These are more recent ones that I've been looking at a little while ago. Again, nothing too extreme here. Now, if you're kind of curious, these, by the way, checklists in war games. Over here on the far side, we have all my F.M. Gordon books. It's one of those things. I bought the first one, and I just kind of kept going with it afterwards because I absolutely love the darn things. Because it's just so unbelievably detailed books. And again, I guess it had to be Russian, but I do have a couple American books in there. Like one of my favorite planes of all time, if I can go poking around. The B-36. So, I understand both sides of things. There's a capo for you for folks who like to do that. Like I said, drum kit. Obviously, like I said, I do a bunch of music stuff. That's what the complete is. Some wireless headphones. Hey, look, what is this? I've never seen one of those before. And of course, going back to my early days of gaming as well. All right, so hopefully this video was interesting. Kind of answers the question that people have been asking for years. I'm not going to do reviews on these unless this is something people absolutely would love me to do. I'm not necessarily a big, huge reviewing kind of a guy. The big thing is it works for me. And like I said, you got to find what works for you. This replaced, by the way, a T16000, which was a really nice stick, but I just needed more buttons. Honestly, it came down to you just need more buttons, especially if you're doing DCFs. If you're doing something on Flight Simulator, honestly, you can get away with a simple stick, no problem. But your life will be completely forever changed the moment you have the ability to trim ailerons and elevators together. Other than that, enjoy.